Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. Welcome to another edition of 60 Minutes Nigeria. I am Wilson on Marshall. Today is all about subsidy removal, fuel hike, and the proposed shutdown by Nigerian Labour Congress. They are saying that if something isn't done about it, they are going to start off an industrial action. You know what that means, right? On the second half, also in course of this program, we'll take a look at what happened between the DSS and the prison officials and the rearrests of former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. We have legal practitioners here in the house, political analysts to really throw more light on this. I'd like to start my introduction by introducing the man that is seated very, very close to me, a Labour devotee, a public affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Money Mike Modesty to our welcome to 60 Minutes Nigeria.
Good afternoon.
Appreciate your coming.
Yes, good afternoon.
All right. Very close to me is a Reverend gentleman, a political analyst, political affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Reverend Dr. Emeka Okwaga. I hope I got that name correctly.
Thank you, Wilson.
You tried. Bite my tongue, but it's a strong name. If the meaning of the name is a strong name. Barrister A.B. Thomas is a legal practitioner, political affairs commentator, and is well grounded when we talk about national and international politics. So is all of them. Barrister, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, viewers at home.
All right. And Dr. Leo Asikidi, medical practitioner, political analyst, political affairs commentator. Welcome to this platform, Doc.
It's a pleasure.
All right. I will start off with Money Mike Modesty to her. That is your field. This is not the first time Labour is saying that they're going to go on strike because of subsidy removal. And here we are. They are still threatening the federal government that if something isn't done about this, next month, they will down tools. Take it up from there.
Wilson, thank you so much. I am aware, and you do know, that the issue of subsidy removal has caused a lot of untold hardship to the entire populace of this country, except for the political gladiators who are somewhere earning without necessarily toiling for it. The position of Congress, I would want to say, isn't strike per se. If you see the communique released by Congress after the CWC meeting, there was never a place where strike was mentioned. Congress is only calling on all Nigerians to join protests come 2nd of August 2023. We wouldn't know what the protest would snowball into. Congress was very, very tactical, knowing too well that the issue that is in court right now has to talk about going on strike. The issue in the court right now, they don't say don't protest. Protest is an inalienable right of every citizen, provided you are doing it legitimately. So as we speak, mobilization is ongoing. I can tell you that across the states of the Federation, civil society organizations, trade unions, market women, market men, everybody is coming together to speak with one voice. Yeah, right. And leadership will be provided by the Nigerian Labour Congress as far as that protest is concerned. However, should government be able to avert that by meeting the demands of Labour Congress between now and that period, Labour may want to retract its own instruction.
Okay. I'll come back to you, comrade. Over now to you, Reverend. What do you feel about this?
Well, let me believe it's a writing in the right direction. The challenge in Nigeria is that laws are made only for the poor. What would have been the best step to force the federal government to do the right thing is for Labour to go on strike. But you see, they try to use the judiciary to kind of suppress them not to go on strike. And you know, if they go beyond that, they will be held accountable. And just like Comrade said here, I think if Nigerians can listen to Labour Congress and whichever days and the weeks or however they want the protest to go, I think it will tell well on the masses, because the interest of the Labour Congress is also for the masses. It's for Nigerians. And if Nigerians come in large numbers to go for protest, I think Nigeria, the federal government should this time around listen on the cry. If you watch what happened in the National Assembly, where the president of the Senate made a statement regarding to the poor, it was mockery. And the reason is because everything they are doing today is only for their interest, They're not looking after the masses. So I'm advising and saying Nigerians should join faith and join hands with Nigerian Labour Congress.
Right.
And let's make sure we make Nigeria what it ought to be again.
Okay. Barrister Ibithomus, you heard both of them. It's like the instrumentality of the law, the judiciary, is what is being used right now in courts to suppress labor for embarking totally on a strike action because of the matter is still there. But they are saying that they'll be mobilizing. He said it's not going to be caught. They have to be tactical about it so that they will not be found wanting. What do you feel about that?
You can't down tools without striking.
You can down tools without strike. How?
You can go to work and not work.
That's it.
That's right.
You can go there and not work. Anybody that comes, look, we are here, we're not working because we trekked from our homes and we are tired. So the judiciary is no longer the judiciary we used to know. I am here. I am not representing the Nigerian Bar Association. I'm not representing the judges. But everybody in this country that has anything to do with government has been compromised.
Compromised.
Everybody that has anything to do with government has been compromised. So, what are you expecting? If you say you are going on strike, judiciary will be called to say, oh, conduct of courts. Now, you want to protest. They will send the police, who are also part of the executive, to brutalize those who are protesting. No matter how peaceful your protest might be, they send police to brutalize you. Then the army may come and start shooting, like what happened in Lekki, in NSAS. Today, what have we heard as a result of NSAS? Where is the outcome of NSAS protests? The government on its own can even plan their own talks. Government have their own talks. Do we have rule of law in this country anymore?
But the matter don't have any thought. That's your own opinion.
My opinion, and my opinion is the pure opinion of the majority.
That's your, not majority, your own opinion right now, Barrister. Many will deny it.
They put people there among those who are protesting to create confusion. And at the end of the day, you start seeing tear gas, you start seeing bullets. But if you go to your workplace and sit down, according to Bola Ige, sit down, look, they're not working. It's more effective than protesting in this modern day Nigeria, where DSS that's supposed to be is in charge of state security. We now come to where people are protesting, brandishing their Uzi machine guns. They will tell you it is state security.
Okay.
Then the soldiers will come. They tell you it is state security. Whereas protest is the inalienable right of every Nigerian. But when you do it, some people might hijack it and create more problems.
All right. Well, Dr. Leo Asikidi, do you share their views and opinions, or you have a contrary opinion?
Thank you. I beg to differ a little. And I'm going to begin from where A.B. Thomas started from. He did say that everybody that has anything to do with government in Nigeria is compromised. To me, including the labor leaders. What we found, if you go down memory lane, you will discover that those that have led us at the NLC level up to now, they are now politicians. They are in different areas of governance. So most of those things I see them do, I believe that they are just trying to make a way for them to get to power in the future. For me, this NLC ultimatum, I don't even have confidence in it. because I don't believe in reactionary actions. To me, this is just reactionary. It's a cover-up for them to cover up their faces. Is it now? Tinubu declared that subsidy was gone at the very day he was sworn in. What was the action? And you see, I, for one, removing subsidy shouldn't have been a problem. But the issue is that now, instead of putting the so-called palliative in place, before you talk about removal of a subsidy, the opposite was done. Because, for example, if I choose to ride a bicycle to ITV, before I get here, I will be knocked down. Ideally, government should provide the necessary and the basic facilities, for the people, for them to be able to cope with the subsidy removal they are talking about. If they are saying that some people are milking the nation from subsidy, a lot of fraud, associated with subsidy, to me, I will agree that it should be removed. But before removal, give minimal comfort to the people. Now, if like what you watch on television, there are countries who believe in where so many people ride bicycles, but they provide lanes for you to, if you want to ride, you ride. Now, if you want to travel from here to Auchi or Abuja, you should have a train that you can just pump in, you enter, and you get there. You park your car.
All right.
There are a lot of wastages in our country, but the issue is that the government is, to me, they are not doing it the way it's supposed to be done.
All right. Well, Barrister A.B. Famous talked about compromise, said every sector, so to speak, in Nigeria has been compromised one way or another. And of course, Dr. Leo Asikini said, look, even the labor also, it has already touched the labor force in the sense that it doesn't even trust the ultimatum issued by the Nigerian Labour Congress. Take it up from there, comrade.
Well, I want to emphasize the fact that we are all entitled to our opinions.
Yes.
Every organization has its own organs of decision-making. The way and manner the leadership of ITV will take decision may not be the way and manner, for instance, government itself will take decision. And the way and manner the Congress will take decision may not be the way and manner individuals will want it to be. Because not until you are very much into Congress to know the organs that take decision, you will not understand how this takes place. Now, my Oga has mentioned that everybody is compromised. Technically speaking, all Nigerians are compromised. Technically speaking, every citizen of this country is compromised. Is it the voter that has taken 1,000 naira to go and do otherwise? Just mention it. Is it the market woman who has bought a bag of beans for 25,000 and is already aiming at making a profit of 5,000, 10,000, on hearing of subsidy, has decided to make a profit of 100,000 naira for that same bag? Everybody is compromised, technically speaking. So it's not a matter of those who are in government. Who is government? Government is not about Tinubu. Neither is government about Akpabio. We are the government. We only chose those people to go and stand in for us. When you're not talking of economic policies that are extraordinarily harsh for the people, in civilized crime, you're not supposed to be waiting for Nigerian Labour Congress. It's not Nigerian Labour Congress' duty to declare protest in the first place if we are in a country where all of us have to be compromised. I watched some few days ago, some civil society organizations went on protest in Benin here. What would have stopped all others? Who says that religious organizations cannot protest? Who says so?
So you're saying it's a battle for all?
It's a battle for all. But the unfortunate thing that happens in Nigeria is that everybody is always sitting with their hands folded akimbo and is always waiting for Labour to take the lead.
All right.
Because the pressure, even the decision Labour has taken, was as a result of massive pressure from all angles. I can tell you that. Dodging the technicalities so as not to run foul of what is in the court is yet another ingenuity from the side of Labour. Labour does not have any need to go on strike or protest if we can all cooperate and get this done. The committee that was supposed to be inaugurated almost a month ago, don't forget, August is when all these committees are expected to submit their reports and final decisions taken. Committee was never inaugurated. No meeting was ever called. But meanwhile, things are going topsy-turvy, downward south, economically. As we speak, thousands and hundreds of thousands of Nigerians are dying. I said hundreds of thousands. Let me tell you why.
In what way? Because you are dying.
I'm going there. I'm going there.
Okay.
I'm going there. Hunger is the greatest weapon. Many Nigerians are sick.
But are not dying.
Hold on. When I say sick, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes,
Many
okay.
Nigerians are sick.
Okay.
Ordinary amlodipine, I'm sorry to mention that name, which is expected to be taken by a blood pressure patient. Go and find out the cost.
Okay.
Most of these drugs are imported. Augmentin is selling for 17,000, 18,000, 20,000 for 1 gram. That used to be with the neighborhood of 4,000, 5,000. So, for instance, you have a relation who is sick, and you have limited resources, and you are told that what you ought to have bought for 4,000, 5,000, it's not 20,000. Where do you get the money? How many people are using their vehicles today?
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Well, it's not hundreds of thousands of Nigerians are dying. You can say they are hungry. Even if it's your opinion, please, not hundreds of thousands are dying. We have a medical practitioner here. And we're in the media, please. Let's not exaggerate, please.
Well, you're afraid of NBC.
I will come to you right now. Reverend, well, you heard him. He said it's not only Labour that shouldn't wait for Labour to go on strike or have a peaceful protest in other climes where the compromise, it is so deep into the fabric of society. They know what to do. Is it the fault of Nigerians now that things are the way they are?
Well, of course, that's his opinion, like he actually said earlier. But the truth remains that when you talk about Nigerians or Nigerians being compromised, what kind of compromising? You should be able to go down deep to find out the kind of compromise a lot of people are compromising. Take, for instance, if I am called to go for protest, and if I'm going for protest, perhaps I will receive a stray bullet. I will be tear gassed. Like he said, when you are being tear gassed, you are not able to lay hand on a good money to buy the drugs that can sustain you. That's why you see hundreds of thousands of Nigerians are dying. Before you know it, the person will pack up. So if I am going for protest where the law enforcement agency is supposed to kind of stand behind the protesters to protect them, in as much as they know it is a peaceful protest, they knew it's a peaceful protest, and the government will also order them in whichever way to say, don't allow these people to go to the road. The international organizations and other countries will see that there is protest going in Nigeria. They will use them to go against the people protesting. Do you really expect me to go and protest and they will kill me there? That is where you come up for the issue of everybody, a lot of Nigerians, or almost everybody in Nigerians protest, compromising. He may refer to the religious body. But whether you like it or not, somebody will have to kickstart whatsoever to bring decency and the standardness to the country. And the Nigerian Labour Congress, being in a front role, supposed to be the people who are to mobilize and ask people, look, this thing must be done. I will see people back them up. But unfortunately, everybody is afraid. Before we get to the point of issue of what do you call it, the former central bank governor and the DSS and the
prison officers,
you will be able to understand that what leads to all these things is because the person they want to kind of carry to their own area to keep has a lot of money.
Okay, all right, a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Compromise. Labour is saying, look, in a sane society, if we don't be compromised, you shouldn't wait for Labour. Barrister A.B. Thomas, why didn't NBA start off this action? know fully well that they are the one in the judiciary, and you know, it's after all, everyone is being affected. No, we shouldn't wait for NLC.
Give you very
Yes.
salient points. NBA is a professional body, just like you have NMA, Nigerian Medical Association. We are not trade unions. That having been made clear, one thing you must understand, all over the world, the single highest employer of labor is government. I stand to be corrected by the comrade. The single highest employer of labor in any country is government. And that is why government goes ahead to fix minimum wage. They don't fix minimum wage for my chambers. They fix minimum wage for their workers, not for my chambers. My chambers are not members of NLC. Neither are my chambers members of Nigerian Bar Association. Now, when I say people have been compromised, or when somebody say, oh, it's not only labor union, everywhere, whether in government or the private sector, there are unions. And these unions are affiliates of Nigerian Labour Congress. Nigerian Labour Congress is the apex body of all workers in Nigeria. If we take it from that angle, the people who are working, who are on salary, who are being treated like slaves in their own country, they are looking at those they've elected to take care of their welfare. And who are these? These are the comrades in Nigerian Labour Congress who have been elected to take care of the welfare of the workers. When Jonathan attempted to increase fuel from 87, 85 naira to 97 naira, Labour crippled Jonathan's government until they reversed it. There were people then who were leaders of Labour, no nonsense leaders of Labour. If you ask me today now, who is the chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress, I don't even know. Because they are no longer doing what we expect them to do. Right. Now, if you look at it, on your inauguration day, even assuming Buhari wrote it for you, that subsidy is removed, before you read the statement, you would have been able to go through and see that they say, announce that subsidy is removed. You will ask, what are on ground to reduce the suffering of the people?
Good question.
That you didn't do, and you went ahead to announce removal of subsidy, and the whole of Nigeria went comatose, like people in the mortuary. And the leadership they needed from the NLC and the TUC, Trade Union Congress, they all kept quiet.
No, that's not correct.
I'll come back to you. There seems to be an argument right now. I'll come back to you. But Barrister, don't forget that in Sudan, when it got so tough, engineers came out. Doctors came out. They were the forefront. In Israel, when they passed a law to say, look, remove the only organ of government, or let's say judiciary checking government, and led to a protest, lawyers came out, doctors came out, students came out. It's like everybody came out.
Even France is the affiliate of NLC.
They are all professional bodies. Anyway, I'll come back to you, Doctor.
So the media should come back to you.
Ask us to come back to the event. Doctor, over to you right now.
Now, you see, in every society, no matter how you look at it, there are people who must get others mobilized. In our days in the university, I know what used to happen is this. If there are issues, NLC will liaise with other civil society, they will liaise with student union government all over the country, and they mobilize everybody. And that is how it has been going. If you talk about the NMA, for example, on the NMA, I mean, ARD or NAD has declared a strike that began today. And it's seen in respect of these same issues of subsidy removal and not, doing the usual thing you are supposed to have done before you do all these things.
Okay, Doc, we want to go for a break or return. We'll continue from your own chain of thought. If you just joined us, this is 60 Minutes Nigeria. We'll be right back after this break. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is 60 Minutes Nigeria. And of course, we have things to really talk about that affects you and I. Just join us right now in the studio. He was a one-time former member of the Edo State House of Assembly. He is a legal practitioner. Public affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Honorable Friday Ogiraki. Welcome to 60 Minutes Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate your coming.
It's a pleasure to be back
All
here.
right, all right. Sir. So we're with you, Doc. We are showing your own opinions and views on other countries that whose professional bodies came out in mass to say enough is enough. They didn't wait for the labor force. They came out on their own. And of course, they were joined by thousands of youths, protesters from the professional bodies to say, government, what you're doing is wrong. Take it up from there.
Yeah, like I was saying, you see, in any society, for whatever actions and reactions you get from the people, some persons must be involved in the mobilization. For example, in the days of Gani Farahimi, for example, in this country, we can remember how many times Gani went behind the bars. In fact, most of the time he had his bag with him that contained his usual medications. Now, somebody must be ready to make sacrifice. It doesn't really matter whether it's labor or whatever union they belong, or even individual. It's a matter of speaking up to challenge some of these, forces that are militating against the survival of our people. So, but in this part of the world, what it has always been, and what I think, like Barrister A.B. Said earlier on, you see, labor, they have the largest number of workers. And as such, if they have followership, I mean the leaders, if they have followership, by the time you are able to mobilize your members, it now trickles down to households. Trickles down, you mobilize the unions, the student union government. If they are not also compromised, you discover that you have a better action. So a situation where somebody is, and you must take the lead, not necessarily tell people to protest and you are in one, sitting down in your air-conditioned office. So you must lead the protest, like what we have seen in the past that worked. If you are not in the lead of the protest, it's when people see that you that is, calling for a protest, you are leading the protest. So many others will begin to follow. The first day you may have few members. As the day progresses, you now discover that the number begin to enlarge. And of course, it will engulf the entire nation. So that's the way I see it.
All right. I want us to double so long into this. It's just next week here. Okay, I would want to say defend, offense, this, that. No, let's see what labor will do. But the big word compromise is already hovering around the nation. From top to bottom, there seems to be compromises here and there. Is it going to impact on the proposed warning right now? Because Money Mike said it may not be strike. If it's going to be protest, we don't know how they're going to do about it, what they're going to do about it, but something definitely will happen. But what if it doesn't happen? Can we still trust labor as a country? Let's leave it at that. I know you want to react, but let's leave it at that for now. Please, we have to really talk about. You can double into it later, but not now. All right. Now, something happened in courts that got Nigerians talking. We've got to see a one-time CBN governor being dragged, being fought over. That's right, being fought over by DSS and, of course, prison officials. And Nigerians have been talking about this. What in the world is going on? What is the legal or political implication of all this? I want to start off from the legal practitioners. Barrister A.B. Thomas, you're going to tee up the discussion. What do you feel about an action?
Yes. You see, when you have people who are incompetent, who are not interested in good governance. When you have competent, good governance, interest of the country at heart, it snowballs into rule of law. When I qualified 39 years ago as a lawyer, I meant that it was forbidden. It was forbidden to arrest any human being within the premises of the courts.
That's the truth.
But what we now have under this, the one Chris, this is democracy. They said this is democracy. Democracy is founded on the rule of law. You have taken this man to 4 different courts. 2 of the courts says, release this man. He has no case to answer. You brought him to Lagos. After taking him to 2 courts in Lagos, and you are in Abuja, you didn't succeed. You now brought this man to Lagos. This same judge is a federal judge, not a state high court judge, though they are courts of coordinate jurisdiction. The judge says, take his plea. The man says, I'm not guilty. And the Constitution of Nigeria says, every suspect is presumed to be innocent until found guilty. The offense of gun possession, for which this man was brought to court, was bailable. The judge said, go on bail for the sum of 20 million and 1 shorty. Tell me what was the reason why DSS was in the court premises. Now, DSS, since 2015, DSS and EFCC, they have considered themselves into an amorphous body that listens to no human being except the president of the country. The president of the country of Nigeria is subject to the Constitution of Nigeria.
Okay. All right.
Now, if the judge said, go on bail, and the judge did not stop there, please, allow me. The judge specifically ordered that Emefiele should go to the custody of Ikoyi prisons, pending when the documentary works on his bail will be perfected. And what did DSS do? They knew that they have no good case. They went in the morning to another court, and that
Get a warrant for arrest.
And that judge also gave warrant of arrest.
Good.
But what in a democracy and a country that believes in rule of law and a country that is civilized, what they would have done was for DSS to stay outside the court premises.
Okay.
And wait
till it comes out.
Till it comes out.
I'll come to you on this.
Instead, they now started fighting, and in fact, it is a complex issue because the businessman.
But Mr. Thomas, not to worry. I will definitely come back to you. I know you are loaded. We'll talk about this topic, but let's get to hear from Barrister Friday Ogiraki. He mentioned something. Constitutionally speaking, you have no right to arrest anyone in the court premises, but they came with a warrant of arrest. Does that qualify them or give them the legal right back in to do what they did, come back to the DSS custody?
Well, I think to a very large extent, I agree with the submissions of my learned senior, Chief A.B. Thomas. But generally speaking, on the issue of arrest, whether a person who is suspected to have committed an offense could be arrested, to the extent that perhaps you see the court premises as a sanctuary of sorts, it becomes sacrilegious to try to apprehend a fleeing criminal or a criminal suspect within that territory. But beyond that, and taking into focus the peculiar farce of the Emefiele saga, I think it is somewhat an incident for which I believe Nigerians need explanation. We are entitled to explanation from the two security agencies, so to speak, who were involved in that show of shame. It is indeed scandalous, and it shows to a large extent the level with which we have degenerated as a people. Because I do not want to see this matter as an isolated one. It is an orchestration of sorts of the lot of things that we are not doing correctly. We are all in this country, or we're here, when, of course, the residents of justices of the Supreme Court were raided by security forces, and what have you. What could be more sacrilegious than that? And it is about a situation or a demonstration or a manifestation of sort of some level of lack of discipline, cohesion, commitment. And our fire brigade approach to doing things, our tendency to drift towards theatrics and preparation, as the case may be. Because some persons want to play to the gallery to satisfy some interest. And that is what we see being manifested.
All right.
The distinguished learned advocate made reference to civilized countries.
Fine, yes.
In civilized crime, before ever a criminal suspect is even arrested, not to talk of even brought to court, a lot of findings, compilation of investigation and facts would have been in place, because the freedom and liberty of citizens is held as sacred. But in this country, what do you find? People are arrested based merely perhaps on just arbitrary complaints, wishful thinking, and what have you.
Okay.
That is to tell you the level we place the liberty of citizens and individuals, the right to human dignity that is even enshrined in our Constitution. How well do we even respect the Constitution?
Good question. How well do we respect the Constitution? Some are saying this all politics. The politics in this particular issue that transpired is well above the Constitution, so to speak, or the sanctity of the judiciary for two arms of government to fight over a suspect, so to speak. Money Mike, is it all about politics?
Well, I want to concur with what the two barristers here have said. In a bid to talk more on the subject matter, I am of the opinion that the incident that happened between the DSS and the officers of the Correctional Service remains a universal disgrace and embarrassment to Nigeria, Nigerians, Africans. The show of shame that was openly displayed by these two security agencies is so worrisome. Now, what is really the matter? Somebody is just being given a little lip that will lead to his freedom, temporary freedom. Another set of officials of DSS were present with their guns and everything with them within the court premises. And at the end of the day, they degenerated to the extent of a correctional center officer being assaulted, so to speak. That tells you the level of decadence in this country. We talked about compromise. Compromise is not only a thing of money. If a magistrate court, you have obtained an arrest warrant for that same person that same day, one would have even expected, allow him come out. What stops the DSS from talking with the overall head of the correctional services in Nigeria? The DG of DSS, talking directly with the overall head of the correctional service to say, something is fishing here. This is what we want to do. Please give an instruction to your people.
All right.
If you give that instruction, you won't see the correctional people wanting to take Emefiele away. But as at the time that incident had happened, the correctional people were the people who were supposed to have taken custody.
According to the judge.
According to the judge. So,
right.
There are a lot of intrigues, and there are a lot of power play.
Okay.
Don't forget, the accusations that were flying here and there, ever before he was arrested, was that he has been funding terrorism. He has opened a 5.something million account somewhere where he's putting Nigeria's money. At the end of the day, we are talking about possession, illegal possession of firearm.
We'll come to that.
What goes around will come around.
Well, Doc, you are a medical practitioner. You've been deep into politics. From your own assessment, what do you think it's all about?
What we witness is part of, with due respect to my learned or to my learned friends who are here. To me, this is part of the confusion they are causing in this country.
They are causing the confusion.
Yes, so
the judiciary.
I'm telling you, it's part of the confusion they are causing. Imagine now, one court will give judgment about a particular matter. If, for example, I can leave Edo State and go to Rivers and go and obtain judgment in Rivers to favor me in Edo State. Then somebody else, for the same matter, somebody else can go to Abuja, get another judgment to favor the person. So it's part of the confusion they are causing. Imagine Emefiele was taken to court. Another judge gave another judgment that should be rearrested while in court. Who caused the confusion? So as far as I'm concerned, it is part of the confusion that we have experienced in this country for a long time. Imagine, even when it comes to electoral issues, the same issues we face here and there. You get different judgment for the same matter. So if the fight they were fighting is what has been going on all across National Assembly, state assemblies, and what have you? What have we not seen? Even in Edo State House of Assembly, how many times in fact, I watched a speaker, somebody remove seat from his bumble. And if it wasn't, agile enough, it will just sit on the floor. So it's part of the what do I call it now? The lawlessness of people in this country. Lawlessness.
Yes. And confusion. By St. Thomas, he said the confusion started all with courts. One judge saying there's the other giving. It seems like a counter order.
Please.
Yes.
If you just give me a few minutes.
Okay.
When army takes over, they pursue away the executive. They drive them away. They drive away the politicians in the legislature. One area the army doesn't touch is judiciary. All these shenanigans you are saying now started when Buhari authorized DSS to go to the houses of
judges,
Supreme Court justices. In fact, something that has never happened in the history of Nigeria. Is that not intimidating? When you are told, even if you are a Kiliwi Wanchuku, and somebody come to your house at 2 a.m., who dead? And the man is now saying, open this bag, with a loaded machine gun. At least I'm old enough, I'm 67. I have never heard that story before. It was under this APC government that this thing happened. Nigerians cried, NBA cried. Then if you now talk about, like a doctor said, you go to that court, you get this job, you get to that court. It is what tools you give to the judiciary that they work with.
What kind of tools are you talking about?
No, let me explain.
Yes.
Let me explain. In civilized countries, all courts are linked together. I'm not a computer
survey.
They are linked together. When one judgment is being delivered here, It is already resonating in Kano, Sokoto. In that case, you are not able to begin to deviate. We are what is called in law stare decisis. You follow precedents. But the Court of Appeal beneath here can be giving judgment why the Court of Appeal in Akure is not aware of it.
Are you now blaming it on technological drive?
It is what
And the judiciary is out to saying right now.
What I'm saying, listen please.
Yes.
Judiciary is not on its own. They are funded by the executive. If the executive is funding the judiciary, you want to build a house, executive comes in. You want to buy machines, executive comes in. You are now under, we are in a militocracy. That is what we are now, where the executive decides. In fact, there is a new word I found from Bongo, which is called miliocracy. We are miliocracy. Miliocracy. That is where the worst people govern the best. Now, we will see a situation. In this Emefiele's case, let me zero down to Emefiele's case. There is no judge now who has given any judgment in favor of DSS. Even today, I'm talking to you now.
They went to court.
DSS went to a court in Abuja and asked that court to give them secretly. They went through ex parte motion. Ex parte means without notice to any other person. They went to that judge. That judge had already watched what happened yesterday, asking that judge in Abuja to please give us a session of time to detain this man. He just said, get out of my court. Today.
All right.
Now, if I'm that judge who gave that order yesterday that says Emefiele should be detained in Ikoyi prisons, and you DSS came to my premises and did what you did, I will either resign or I will say don't bring any EFCC case, a DSS case to my court.
All right. Barrister Friday.
Because they are the ones who are ridiculing judiciary.
Yes.
Okay, but still they got the order from the court, from another judge.
The court, they went to the inferior court,
The magistrate court.
They went to the magistrate court.
Okay.
A magistrate court does not have the facilities to know what has happened in the high court.
Over now to you.
Well, for me, one straight answer. You know, this is not an era for trading of blames. Or even isolating one area for praise and while vilifying the other. It is not. When you say and you admit that fact, that the system is either failure or has failed, what you find is this manifestation of rudderlessness, lawlessness, rascality, indiscipline. And that is what we have in our hands. I am not going to be here, even though as a practicing lawyer, to say, oh, judiciary is above blame. Are they not part of the Nigerian system? Did they fall from the sky? So this is not the time for that. If we want this country to have a headway, we must all be alive to the situation and know where the problem lies, analyze it properly and look for the solution. Because you cannot have a system like this. For instance, okay, again using the Emefiele example, are we saying, I'm not afraid of Emefiele. In fact, if I were asked to deal with him on a personal ground anyway, I know what I would do. But the point is this man is a citizen of this country and is subject to the laws of Nigeria just like every other institution. Sure. We are not aware that this man is a fugitive on the run. We are not aware that this man, when he was being sought for, went into hiding. So there was that drama was needless. It is, I think, like I said before, these institutions that were involved need to explain to Nigerians.
All right. What
led to that?
Morning, Mike, you're going to have the last line on this because it's almost 1 hour now. Our time is up. I know you have so much to say. What advice do you have for these two bodies? And of course, for Nigeria.
I will want to take our mind back to an incident that happened some years back.
1 minute.
Okay. Where is former National Security Advisor, Dasuki? Where is he? The cases that were instituted against him, where are the cases? Have you ever heard about that any longer? So if they wish to vilify Emefiele, because all the accusations that they were brandishing everywhere before he went into their custody and others, nobody is talking about it again. Now, illegal possession of firearm.
Of 1947 gone.
Therefore, there is more to it.
Okay.
Is the eyes.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Our time is up. Ms. Rosa, somebody about Malaho will be here next week Thursday to take you on a ride of 60 Minutes Nigeria. Gentlemen, I appreciate a wonderful analysis. Nigerians are on. Do the right now, the right time, and avoid any form of compromise. Bye for now.